what is their top problem, and then build a really catchy hook around that and build a one-page lead magnet that solves that problem.
Welcome to the Business Builder Throwdown.
That's why people call me. They're like, what do I do?
First of all, how are you reading my mind?
With your hosts, Holly Jean Jackson and Matt Rouse. And moderator and referee, D. Scott Smith.
Hey, here we are. It is time for the Business Builder Throwdown. So, Holly Jackson, Matt Rouse. Today's topic is quizzes versus lead magnets. Matt, let's have you go ahead and introduce yourself and talk about which side you're taking.
I am the host of the Digital Marketing Masters podcast, the Motivational Success podcast, and the author of the Inbox Mastery email marketing course. And I'm going with quizzes and surveys today for building your list.
All right. So that sounds great. Holly, tell us who you are and tell us about lead magnets.
So Holly Jean Jackson, I'm a holistic business coach. I also am the host for the Inspiration Contagion podcast, where we interview transformational leaders and how they've overcome adversity and spread inspiration like wildfire. Today, I'm going with lead magnets. And you're probably, if you're brand new to lead magnets, you might be wondering, what is a lead magnet? And by the way, quizzes and surveys are a type of lead magnet. So Matt's choosing a specific type, and I'm choosing a different type of lead magnet. So today, I'm going to be going deep on why I think you should be using content, specifically a one-pager lead magnet, to build your list on your website. And the research shows that still today, video, short form video, and short form text like a one-pager are the number one lead magnets on the market. They have extremely high conversion rates, and there are some specific pieces and elements that you want to have in every single lead magnet. But we can go further into that as we'll hear a little bit more from Matt on why he's choosing quizzes and surveys.
Well, I'll tell you, we're gonna go into the details on this in just a moment, because we're gonna need to talk about why we want to get involved in any of these. And just an introduction, I'm Scott Smith, co-host of the virtual Global Tea Break, the third Friday of every month, Global Networking. Go to globalteabreak.com. And I also co-host The Experience live every Wednesday morning. You can also find my book, Motivational Listener, Be Interesting by Being Interested, How to Be Successful. It's a practical guide on how to be successful at business networking events. And you can find that on Amazon just by searching for Motivational Listener, because it turns out it's just me out there doing that stuff. So I can safely claim that I am the world's foremost authority on being a motivational listener. But let's talk about what the purpose is. So lead magnets in general, quizzes specifically. But what are we trying to do? Why would someone go through the effort to put one of these things together?
Email marketing. It is still the number one converting sales tool next to in-person marketing. And if COVID has taught us anything, it's that you may not be able to always be in person to sell things to clients. Mm-hmm. It's the best converting, means you will sell more things. And if you like money.
Oh, I like money. Yeah, I like money though. I like money. Can't believe you like money too.
You should be doing email marketing and growing your list.
About lists. Tell us, Holly, a little bit more about lists and why they're so important.
I'll oftentimes start working with a new client or just look at somebody's LinkedIn profile and then go to their website. And oftentimes there's nothing actionable on their website. Now, if you have something that is high value that's solving a specific problem for the people you're serving in your business, you want to have something above the fold on your website, meaning they don't have to scroll down on their browser or on their phone and they're going to see it and be like, oh my gosh, three secrets to making more money in your business, 3 tips on converting to better email marketing, whatever that is, whatever that problem is. They'll see that, and then all they have to do is enter their email address to get that freebie immediately.
Excellent.
What's great is it's solving a problem. It's actionable, meaning it's going to give them something that they can take action on. And then it's also starting to build trust. Now, the other key that a lot of people forget to do when they're building a lead magnet, regardless of what type of magnet it is you also want to make sure it's pulling them into your master contact list so that you're putting them into a welcome email campaign. They're getting those emails you're sending out every week or every month to that list. So you're continuing to nurture that relationship. And as Matt said, email marketing is the number way to convert in for sales. So you're doing some nurturing as well as some selling as you're continuing to build that relationship over time.
You have direct contact with people who, as Holly has said, have built trust with you, and they understand that you have something to offer and a way to solve their problem. So why quizzes, and how do quizzes work? How would I say? I need help. Come on.
There's a whole bunch of different types of quizzes and surveys, which is why I wanted to bring it up, because it's a very ingenious way to get people onto your list. And there's a few reasons for that. Like an example is on our website, we have one, what's your SEO IQ? And then it's 10 questions to test if you have a basic knowledge or understanding of SEO. You kind of learn a little bit about what the complexities of handling your own SEO, and we're an SEO first marketing agency. So we want people to understand that SEO is complicated. And so this tells them these are all the things that go into SEO. So they're actually learning while they're taking the quiz. So they're being entertained and learning at the same time. When they get to the end, they put in their email address so that we can send them the results. You get them involved, and once they've gone through the process of taking the quiz, it's very unlikely that they're not going to put in their email address to get the result, right? So you're kind of stepping them through a process where they're learning, they're being entertained, and then they're signing up. And you can straight up do it where they don't necessarily have to put in their email to get the results. A good way to do it is to say something like, here's your results. Put in your email to get the results of everyone who's ever taken this survey, or what 500 companies said about this quiz or something like that. Then you also get the chance to put a link in for them to go to another location, which could contain a sales page, could contain more information, it could be a YouTube channel, right? So there's other things you can do after the fact. And then, as Holly was saying, just like a normal lead magnet, you would want to drop them into some kind of related drip campaign, which is where you'll send a person a certain number of pre-generated emails over a certain time frame. And that could be as simple as like a welcome email, and then they go on your list, or it could be a series of 3 or 10 or whatever. And then you want them on your master contact list after that.
I like this, that it's related directly to the business, because I will tell you, I'm not really interested to know which Disney princess I am. And it's not likely that I give you my email.
Really?
Are you sure?
All right, maybe no. Okay, all right. Holly, so we got an idea about this quiz, and it's something that's going to help educate, maybe even make a more educated client, which are much more fun to work with than when they're asking very basic questions, when they're asking maybe questions that will really help direct the way you work with them. So I like the idea of this quiz to educate, but also to let the people understand this is maybe something that you don't want to do on your own. What other kinds of lead magnets would you get that help build that trust factor?
Yeah, so there are a lot of different types of lead magnets that you can do. My favorite, especially if I'm teaching somebody who's brand new to lead magnets or they're a newer business and they want something that's just really simple, is listen to the people you're working with. What is their top problem? And then build a really catchy hook around that and build a one-page lead magnet that solves that problem. So on your homepage on the website, your lead magnet says 3 solutions or 3 secrets to podcasting on your own. So basically your lead magnet is the DIY, doing it for yourself solution, and it's educating them on how complex it is to, for example, build a podcast, or how complex it is to do digital marketing for your business or build strategy, whatever that problem is. So you're teaching them in that one pager that they sign up for some elements of how they could do this on them by themselves, like really practically and really specifically. You're giving them those steps. But then the email drip that's happening after that is saying, okay, if you need a little more help, there's a lot of additional nuances behind each of these steps that you need to learn more about. And it's giving them a little bit more about that and offering them to either hop on a consulting call or a coaching call so that it can be done for them, taking the pain out of the process, helping them get to their goal even faster. So it's the same thing for all lead magnets. You're basically offering the done do-it-yourself option, and then you're trying to upsell them to the done for you option. So you're educating them, whether it's a quiz or a one pager, but you're trying to amplify the pain between doing it yourself and having somebody else that's an expert doing it with you or doing it for you. The reason I don't love quizzes as a lead magnet is, especially if a company is newer, there's a lot more technical components that can be rather complex for setting that up as a really solid lead magnet. And it's more of a 2-step process beyond what a simple one pager would be. And also for me, the only compelling quizzes that I've really seen out there are really sophisticated ones where they've created kind of a subset of surveys that are putting you into a profile on something they're an expert in. And that takes several years and a lot of research, I find, for a lot of businesses to create that kind of quiz that gives you really detailed information about yourself in a professional way.
So I like the idea of a lead magnet giving somebody an idea of what that outcome would be if they follow a certain process. And I was reminded I think there was a great lead magnet that was a part of a stand-up routine that Steve Martin did back in the 70s, where he started off by saying, you can be a millionaire and not pay taxes. Well, no, that's great. That's great clickbait right there. You can be a millionaire and not pay taxes. And so his formula was, first, get $1 million. Then don't pay your taxes. So Matt, what do you think? Are quizzes a little bit more complicated? Are they going to be too hard for a do-it-yourself person?
Well, I would say the average do-it-yourself person could write a handful of questions for a survey. You can use survey tools. It's built into stuff like MailChimp. You could use something like SurveyMonkey. There's Thrive quizzes for WordPress. There's all kinds of ways, technical ways to get it done, where basically you install the software or you click on quizzes and then you say question 1. You type in the options, right? The questions and the answers. But we've mostly talked about quizzes. We haven't really talked about surveys. And a survey is a type of quiz, right? But where you're trying to get information back from people, generally from people you already know. Survey. So you take all the email addresses out that you have from your past clients, you put them into the survey program, and then you generate a survey to get feedback from them. And that's going to do 3 things. Number 1, it's going to put them on your list so that now you've got a list of all your current and former clients. Number 2, you can ask them at the end of the survey if they want to get the result of the survey, which allows you to then email them again in the future. But you can also then ask them if they want to be on your list, or you can give them an opt-out option. So there's a way to kind of have some kind of trust factor in there to get them either to join the list, opt in, or to opt out if they don't want to be on the list. And thirdly, you can ask them questions for feedback on things like, what would make you more likely to purchase from us again? What is a product or service we don't offer that your business needs? Things like that. So you can actually get ideas for new products and services and figure out which customers are more likely to purchase from your company again by surveying your current and past clients.
So I like this. You're able to create some dialogue maybe.
Yeah, so this is where it comes back to that drip email campaign, which is the same as like with a quiz or a survey. So basically the drip email campaign that's specific to whatever that lead magnet is should speak specifically on what's the next step to that, or building that pain between doing it yourself and hiring somebody to have assistance to do that. So if you work with somebody like Matt or myself that help you with your email marketing, we're experts on making sure that the copy is really tight and dialed in for solving that problem, amplifying the pain between doing it yourself and how much faster it'll be working with somebody else who is an expert at that. So for example, if I have a lead magnet that says, how to launch your podcast in 30 days. And it gives you some high level stuff on the one pager. The next email that's going to be in that drip campaign is, okay, so you've taken those first couple of steps and you find yourself stuck at step 1 because it's so big and there's so many steps beneath that. And you're right, there is a lot behind that. That's why people hire experts across these different areas. And here's what it generally costs. And guess what? Here's the cost savings of working with someone like yada yada. So you just kind of work on that sales copy. Now, obviously, typically you want to add value for a couple more days before you're actually selling. So there's this balance between adding value, building trust, showing your credibility, and then offering them to enter into more of a sales relationship and partnership down the road. Now, I love what Matt mentioned about surveys, but some of that is also beyond just list building. That's actually product building, which is great. And I use surveys like that with my clients. But just reminding you for the Throwdown, we're talking about list building.
Fair enough. Now I'm going to put this out as a toss-up to kind of see which way we want to go. But so, what are some of the tactics or things that we can do to make them more attractive so that people actually do click on them and fill out their information?
Go for it, Matt.
All right.
I have a ton of ways that you can improve the chances that somebody's going to sign up for your quiz, your survey, or your lead magnet. So the first one is, do not ask for too much information up front. The less information you ask for, the more likely someone is going to sign up. If you have to get more information, like say you need somebody's first name, last name, email, company name, and birthday or something like that, a good strategy there is to split it onto 2 pages. So get their email first, put the email onto your list, and then the next one, get their first name, last name, and stuff, and update your list for that. Generally, you don't want to have more than 3 to 5 fields. Anything over that is friction.
Static friction.
And as we all know, any friction in a process makes some people drop out at that point in the process. Another thing is you got to make sure that your pages load super quick. Nobody is going to wait to fill out a form, right? So if somebody clicks on an ad or a social media post and they got to wait 4 seconds for that form to load, they're not filling it out, right? They're already gone. Because there's lots of cute kittens to look at on Facebook without them having to go fill out your survey, right? So another thing is, as Holly had mentioned, is you have to have copy that speaks to the end result that the person is trying to achieve. You have to tell them, and speak to them, I shouldn't say tell them, but speak with them about what it is they're trying to accomplish and how that's going to feel. Right? And if you have space for longer form copy, like say you're going to have some information, a form, and then you've got information you could put under that, that's when you can get into things like talking about what happened, like the character arc of them now with whatever problem they have, and future them in the wonderful after state of having solved the problem that your lead magnet is going to do, right? So all of that copywriting is super vital.
So good writing and future casting. So these are important, and good writing. This sounds like a great throwdown topic coming up. But Holly, why don't you talk about kind of this writing and future casting, and then we can maybe roll then into the format, because I know so many people are on phones, and some of these things seem a little cumbersome for the mobile screen.
Well, also one more thing related to your last question of, how to get people to use your lead magnet. So many people will put it on their website and that's all they do. And it's like, okay, well, every time you have a blog that's related to that, put the lead magnet there. Every time you're on a digital stage and it's related, drop that in the chat for people to sign up. Every time you're on a show like this, drop that in there for people to sign up. Your lead magnet is your list builder. So anytime you're interfacing with people and it's relevant, share your lead magnet. It's just like marketing. Like, you have to market your lead magnet in every way and every format possible. Otherwise, what are you doing? So if you're going to put all the work into it, make sure you do that. In terms of good writing and future casting, I completely agree. When I teach workshops on lead magnets, one of the things that people get really confused about is the fact that it is more than a one-step process. So you build your lead magnet, and that's your one-pager or your quiz or your video, whatever that is. But there's also this other step of catching the lead magnet, meaning how are you going to capture that person on your website? Is it an image at the top of your screen? What kind of copy do you have there to build that problem? What hook are you using so that people see it and they're like, oh man, I need to read the smaller fine print on what this is. And sometimes if your lead magnet is more complex, it's an extra click, meaning it'll take them to a longer page. It's almost like a sales page explaining maybe with a video or that future casting on that. So there's a lot of different testing you can do, a lot of different formatting on the website for that is really necessary in terms of making sure you're capturing them, you're hooking them, they understand exactly what they're getting so that they feel comfortable putting their email in there, and then obviously marketing that.
Right. All right. What about mobile versus desktops? Where are we at on that, Holly? Let's start with you there.
Yeah, so anytime you're building any of these things, you want to make sure that your digital marketing tools and your website are mobile responsive at the very least, or you're making sure that they're optimized for mobility, meaning every time you do this, if you're not a website expert, just test it on your mobile, make sure it's loading, make sure, like Matt said, it's not taking 4 seconds or it's loading super, super fast. And a lot of times these forms, you'll look at it on your phone and they don't work. Like you're clicking buttons and you're like, why is this not working? And that is the worst thing. You don't want to build your lead magnet, because I would say 90% of people are using their mobile devices when they find it and it doesn't work. So you have to make it mobile responsive, and you need to test that.
Each one of these topics, I want to encourage people to subscribe to the Business Builder Throwdown, because there are so many topics that need to be discussed and we need to learn about, because as you're talking about all these different things with a mobile versus desktop, and load times and websites. We haven't talked about landing pages. There's all kinds of stuff that is going to come up. So make sure you subscribe and follow Business Builder Throwdown. You will be grateful. As we're kind of winding down here, I want to give each one of you a chance to put out the final word as to why quizzes and surveys are better, or why lead magnets are better. But I'm just feeling a lot more comfortable with all of these, and seeing that email marketing, I don't want to be caught. I don't want to be held hostage by some operating systems change, or by some social media platform algorithm change. I want to have control. And I think anyone that's an entrepreneur, anyone that owns a business can certainly relate to that. All right. So with that, let's bring it over to Matt. We started we started there. Let's hear your final words here.
Sure. So I think anything that you can do in a positive way to grow your list is going to be vital to the future of your business. A lot of times in business, especially in the real estate world, they say the things you do now is your paycheck 90 days from now, or it's your paycheck 3 to 6 months from now. That's absolutely true. Getting people on your list is the gift that keeps on giving forever. And it's just a great way to stay in touch with your clients and have a conversation with them and, keep yourself top of mind. And, so no matter what way you choose to get people on the list, I think it's vital to get them on the list. And I think quizzes and surveys specifically are kind of an easy gateway drug to all the lead magnets that you can do and all of the other things that need to be done around that, like landing pages, etc. But I think quizzes are just an easy way to get started without having to have too much technical knowledge and, just get that list growing.
All right, sounds good. And Holly, let's hear your closing argument.
Yeah, so before the throwdown this week, I did some research and I found that still short form video and short form content are the #1 lead magnet out there. And in particular, ebooks or a short one pager are still listed #1. And this has been going on for at least 5 years. So why mess with something that is working and a proven method? Additionally, from my experience working with my clients, doing quizzes and surveys can actually be rather complicated from time to time. So it just depends on how you're doing that. But I have found that it can be a barrier to entry. And I agree with Matt, anything you can do to build your list, you should be doing. I don't care what lead magnet you do. Obviously, I have a preference in what I work with my clients across and what I use, but just get it going because you're leaving a gold mine of opportunity on the table every day you do not have a lead magnet. So get going.
All right, I can see coming up on the throwdown that we will be talking about email marketing and should you be sending out to your list. So we know that building your list is important. And Matt, as you're talking about, the work you do today is your paycheck down the road. And they say the best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago and today. So the best time to start your email list was 10 years ago. Or today. If you don't have one, then you definitely need a strategy to do that starting today. And the tools out there are very easy as long as you take action. Which one's better, quizzes and surveys or kind of the general, more simple form lead magnets? What I found is that we're going to use them to build the list. We're going to create sequences so we can create dialogue and engage people. So the idea is which one is going to be simpler to use and more effective in the short term. I like quizzes and surveys because it creates immediate engagement with your customers. And it helps position you, just by the nature of the questions that you ask, as an expert in the area. So the psychology is that if you ask the right questions, the people that are answering those assume that you also know the answers. So I like quizzes and surveys that way. With that said, they're very complicated, and the way you ask questions is a science. That's why people get PhDs in this, to be able to ask the questions so that they aren't confusing and so that people don't have to do a lot of interpretation. And so for today's throwdown, I'm going to go with Holly and the simpler form of a one-page lead magnet.
Wow.
Because I can see that today we can get that accomplished. And as soon as you have those systems set up, if you are not building a list today, then you need to go simple and you need to get it done. And then tomorrow, make sure that you go see Matt about setting up quizzes. So there's the throwdown for today. the Business Builder Throwdown. Make sure you subscribe, share this with your friends, but not your competition, because the information that you learn on the Business Builder Throwdown is the weapon, the secret weapon that you have to beat all of your competitors and grow your business. Business Builder Throwdown